So a bit late with this, but I am back with another video, and in today's video I will be going over the UFC White House card. So the UFC White House card was officially announced after the, I think, first match of the UFC Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway pay-per-view. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm a bit disappointed, and I think the reason why was there was just too much hype around it, that the end result wasn't what we all thought it was going to be. So going on to the first fight of the main card, it is Lopez versus Garcia, which in my opinion, it is a great way to open the main card. Of course, Garcia is on a 7-fight win streak, and a win against Lopez will put him into the top 3 rankings. I think this will be a very interesting fight, and someone most likely will be slept, as they both do start very fast and throw big strikes. I think Diego Lopez, however, wins this, as he does have more experience, and he has a decent chin more than Garcia's. And I feel that if Gene Silva did knock out Diego Lopez, Garcia also won't. So yeah, this is a very, very good fight to start off the main card. Moving on to the next fight of the card is Nickel versus Daukaus. I think I've said that right. Hopefully I have. And if I'm being honest, how on earth did this make it to this high tier card? Bo Nickel has now been on the UFC 300 and now will be on the White House card. So he's been on 2 high tier cards that many people have missed out on. Of course, Daukaus has been very good since coming back into the UFC. He's got 2 straight wins. And I mean, if Colby Covington versus Nickel was to happen instead, then I wouldn't mind it being on the White House main event. But overall, I've got Nickel winning by decision. And thinking of it, with Daukaus having 2 wins in the UFC and coming back, and then being on the White House card is really, really good. But I think this is a prelim fight at best, and I do think this fight should not have happened on the White House card. So the third fight on the UFC White House event is Rufi versus Chandler. Rufi is coming off a very good win against Rafael Fiziev, and I just didn't expect him to be up against Chandler. I mean, if Chandler loses, he will be 2-6 in the UFC, and let's be honest, the McGregor fight is never really happening, and I do feel kind of bad for Chandler because he did stay out for a long time just for this fight, and now he's not going to get it. And it seems like I'm picking Rufi to win by knockout. Another thing is, I don't know why Chandler doesn't wrestle that much in his fights overall, but yeah, I just see Rufi winning and knocking Chandler out in the second round. I don't know if this is it for Michael Chandler if he does lose this match, because he's lost 3 in a row now, I think. His last win was against, well, washed up Tony Ferguson. And I mean, if he loses this one, it's 4 losses in a row. So it is quite bad for him. I do think as well, if it was McGregor versus Chandler, I do think McGregor would beat him as well. So next on the UFC White House event is O'Malley versus Zahabi. What on earth is this? Fans have been asking for Sanhagen versus O'Malley for such a long time, and that would have been way better. To be fair though, Zahabi has been on a very decent run. 7 wins in a row. However, I think the striking from Sean O'Malley is going to give Zahabi big problems. Will the overall fight be competitive? I think so, as Zahabi's wrestling and grappling is decent to an extent, so I can see him finding success against O'Malley on the ground, but I think O'Malley will win this one by decision ultimately. So the next fight on the card, which is the main event in my opinion, but it's a co-main, is Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira. Man, Pereira is such a good fighter. After 3 title defenses and getting the title back, he has now gone up to heavyweight. Finally, the heavyweight division is actually going to be exciting to an extent, as it is so dry at the moment. I've also seen people saying that Gane doesn't deserve the interim title after the eye poke. However, heavyweight division when it comes to top prospects is awful, so it's expected Gane was going to get another shot. Even Aspinall said this. Of course, I want Pereira to win, as a big fan of him. If he actually wins against Aspinall and becomes a freeweight champion, he would 100% be in the top 5 UFC fighters of all time discussion. But I'll be honest with you though, I was surprised it's not John Jones versus Pereira, but most likely Jones would have just wrestled and take Pereira down. I do think Jones beats Pereira when it comes to this fight. Now it's going to be a high tier striking matchup, and I do think Alex Pereira gets it done. I think he'll be too much on the front foot and track the cage. And of course, when it comes to skill level, Alex Pereira is high tier and has lots of experience. Though I will say this though, as Ngannou has never knocked out Gane, While didn't knock out Gane, I just don't think Pereira will knock out Gane, and I think Pereira will win ultimately by a decision. On to the main event of the UFC White House card, and if I'm being truly honest, this is not a good main event. If it was Tasarukian versus Topuria, I would 100% say that that fight is a good main event for the White House card. Of course, Gaethje surprised me a lot against Paddy, as I thought Paddy would win that fight, and this is now Gaethje's third attempt to get the lightweight title. It's unfortunate that his last two he was against high-tier elite fighters like Oliveira and Khabib, and now he's against Ilya, which is even worse. Ilya is generally so good, like seeing Holloway versus Oliveira and Paddy versus Holloway instantly showed me how good Ilya Topuria is with his striking and power. I generally don't see Gaethje even having a chance against Ilya Topuria. He's generally too good, and Gaethje, he does this thing many times where he dips his head to the right, so I do see Ilya catching him there. As well, overall prediction, Topuria round 2 knockout. However, after this fight, it does have to be Tasarukian next. It 100% has to. Them two are the best lightweights on the planet, and they should fight. Overall, is the UFC White House card good? Yes, to an extent because of Gane and Pereira. Other than that, it's not what we all thought. I mean, the main event, it's obvious who is going to win, and I doubt it's even going to be competitive. But overall, that is the overview of the UFC White House card. Thanks for watching, and I will be back on another video.